The definition of consumer choice. Consumer choice is a study of how people decide to spend their money based on their individual preference and budget constraint. It means that we want to know the decision that consumers make with regard to product and service, and how consumers decide which products to purchase or consume over time. The premises of consumer behavior are individual taste or preference determine the amount of pleasure people derive from the goods and services they consume. Consumers face constraints or limits on their choice, and the consumer maximize their well-being or pleasure from consumption subject to the constraint they face. There are three assumptions about the properties of consumer preference. There are completeness, transitivity, and more is better. First, completeness. Completeness means when consumer facing a choice between any two bundles of goods, a consumer can rank them so that one and only one of the following relationship is true. The consumer prefers the first bundle to the second, prefers the second to the first, or is indifferent between them. This rules out the possibility that consumer cannot decide which bundle is preferable. Second, transitivity. Transitivity of preference says that if a person, group, or society prefers some choice option, it defines that a relationship between goods, such as if a consumer prefers good A to good B and prefers good B to good C, then the consumer should prefer good A to good C. Lastly, more is better. More is better is all else being the same, more of a commodity is better than less of it. Good is a service commodity for which more is preferred to less, at least at some levels of consumption. Bad is something for which less is preferred to more, such as pollution.
How to analyze consumer taste? Consumer taste can be analyzed using indifference curve. Indifference curve. Definition. Indifference curves are a crucial tool of analysis because they are used to represent an ordinal measure of the taste and preference of the consumer and to show how the consumer maximizes utility in spending income. Characteristic. Negatively slope, cannot intersect, convert to origin, marginal rate of substitution, MRS. Indifferent curves are usually convex to the origin, that is, they lie above any tangent to the curve. Convexity result is a reflection of decreasing marginal rate of substitution. Definition. The amount of one good that an individual is willing to give up for an additional unit of another good while maintaining the same level of satisfaction or remaining on the same indifferent curve. Formula. MRS XY equals negative Y over X. Indifferent map. Definition. The entire set of indifferent curves reflecting the consumer taste and preference. Indifference map consists more than one indifferent curve. Between two indifference curves, an additional curve can always be drawn.
Curvature of indifference curve. Perfect complements. A perfect complement is a good that must be consumed with another goods. Indifference curve will be L-shaped. The marginal rate of substitution is either 0 or infinite. Example for perfect complement is right shoes and left shoes. It is because it should be consumed together. Perfect substitute. Substitutes are goods that a consumer perceives as similar or comparable, so that having more of one good causes the consumer to desire less of the other good. Perfect substitute have a linear utility function and a constant marginal rate of substitution.
Budget line. Budget line, also known as budget constraint, shows the combination of two products that a consumer can afford to buy with a given income using all of their available budget. The gradients of the budget line reflects the relative prices of the two products. Budget line can be expressed as price of X times quantity of X plus price of Y times quantity of Y, and you will get the income. From the graph, to get the total income, price of apple, which is $1, times with the quantity of apple, which is 10, plus with the price of banana, $2, times with the quantity of banana, which is 15, and you will get 40, which is the income. The graph shows that with the $40 income, consumer can buy 10 apples and 15 banana.
Changes in budget line. Budget line will shift because of the changes in income and changes in price. First, changes in income. When there is an increase in income, a consumer can buy more of both goods, and this shows an upward, which means the budget line will shift rightward. On the other hand, when there is a decrease in income, the consumer's consumption possibility decrease, and the budget line shift inwards, which means the budget line will shift to the leftwards. If there is a change in income of a consumer, but there is no change in relative price of the two goods, the budget line will shift parallel, as you can see in the graph. Second, changes in price. The budget line will shift when there is a change in the prices of one or both products with nominal income remaining the same. A change in the level of nominal income with the relative price of the two products remaining the same. As you can see in the graph, the budget line will rotate, or we can say shift but not parallel. It is because there is a change in relative price, means when price of only one good increase, or when the price of other good increases by a larger percentage than the other.
Next, utility maximization. This refers to the concept that individual and firm seek to get the highest satisfaction from their economic decision. For example, when deciding how to spend a fee, some individuals will purchase the combination of goods or service that give the most satisfaction. If utility were cardinally measurable, the condition for constrained utility maximization would be for the consumer to spend all income on X and Y in such a way that a consumer will consume a good up to the point where the marginal utility is greater than or equal to the price. So, conclusion, economics believe that individual decisions can be analyzed as choices made within certain budget constraints. Consumer making choice to maximize total utility or satisfaction. Economics also believe that the choice people make are influenced by their incomes, price, or factors like where they live. Overall, this chapter introduced the economic theory of how consumers make choice about what to buy.